to hit the magic button.
Sorry.
No, hey, I asked you to hit the magic button.
Yeah.
So I will make a quick reminder of the announcement about the recording, and then the board will introduce ourselves. This video is being recorded. The recording is available on the jeffreyspoint.org website and is hosted on YouTube. So it is publicly searchable and considered in the public domain. You are not required to be seen on video. You may keep your camera off. You are not required to be heard on video. You are welcome to submit questions through the chat. You are also able to change your name as it displays. That will not affect your ability to either vote or participate in the meeting. We do respect your right to privacy. I'd like to thank you all for joining us this evening, this Monday, March 13th at the Jeffreys Point Neighborhood Association monthly meeting. My name is Margaret Farmer and I am a co-chair. Rachel?
Hi, my name is Rachel Bloomerth and I am the other co-chair. Andrew?
My name is Andrew Pike. I'm the treasurer. Josh?
Hey, I'm Josh. I am the secretary here. Thanks.
Normally, we would also be joined by Susan, who is our vice chair. Unfortunately, she is not feeling well this evening. We wish her the best and hope that she feels better soon. Just to recognize, although we will be joined later on this evening by our by our city councilor, Gabriela Coletta. Would like to call out as we recognize there are a few other people here in the meeting. Gloria Bell Rivas, who is with Rep Modero's office, is here this evening. I see that I'm having to flip through here. Officer Santolo, who we'll hear from in a few minutes, and of course, Nathalia Benitez-Perez, who we'll hear from in a few minutes as well. Does anybody else see any other elected? Yeah.
Sebastian.
Oh, I think he's on my other page. Hold on.
Sebastian Para from Councilor Coletta's office.
Yes, Sebastian. Thank you so much. I'm flipping through several pages. It takes a moment. So thank you very much. We do not have anybody on the phone currently, but if we do have someone who joins us on the phone, we will need to stop to collect their name for attendance purposes. However, I will move on to announcements. We'd like to announce that City Councilor pardon me if I do not say this correctly, Ruth Z. Lejeune is hosting a budget listening session this upcoming Tuesday, March 14th, which is tomorrow from 7 to 9 p.m. online. It is on Zoom. They are asking people to register in advance, and she's asking people to check her website. The JPNA has also posted the flyer on our Facebook page if you are interested in more information. She's looking for guidance on priorities for the City of Boston budget. On March 18th at the East Boston branch of the Boston Public Library, they are hosting a free program, Boston by Map, in person at the library from 6 to 7 p.m. This event is a great way to learn about East Boston in the 19th and 20th century. And everyone, as far as I know, everyone here is a big fan of the BPL, so feel free to check them out. Friends of the Belle Isle Marsh is hosting a bird watching exploration with the trustees, Department of Community Reservations, and Latino Outdoors. This is going to be a monthly event for the next 3 months, but will start this Saturday, March 18th, and will take place at the Belle Isle Marsh. We encourage you to check their website for exact times and for more information, and those events are free. A reminder that on March 27th of this month, I suppose that's redundant, March 27th this month, East Boston Ferry Service will resume at the Lewis Wharf. Yes. Ferry service will resume between Logan Airport, Hingham Hull, and Long Wharf at Memorial Day weekend. We encourage you to check the mba.com/ferry website for information on fares and also the exact schedule. I believe it's going to be roughly the same schedule that it had last fall, I should say, which was coming across every half hour. Many people really enjoyed having the ferry, and on those days when you've got to pack yourself into the platform at Maverick, it is a wonderful alternative. Also, we'd like to announce that the JPNA is very proud to be one of the sponsors of the East Boston Egg Hunt and Egg Gather, which will occur on Saturday, April 8th at Pierce Park. I know that there's confusion about what do you mean an egg hunt and an egg gather? So for children age 5 and below, it is an egg gather. So the eggs are placed out. They're welcome to gather and place them in their basket. For kids 6 and above, there will be an egg hunt out on the pier. We are looking for volunteers for people who'd like to assist us. This is being done this is actually being hosted with John Toludo and a bunch of other community volunteers. The events will start at 10:30 and include both face painting and egg races. The hunt and gather will start at 11 a.m. sharp. I'd like to reiterate that at 11 a.m. sharp, when we blow the whistle or honk the horn or whatever happens, kids will go nuts. Do not show up at 11:05 and think there will be anything left. There will not. But the activities, including the face painting and a few of the other activities, will continue on. If you're interested in volunteering, we would love to have you. Please feel free to send an email to board@jeffreyspoint.org. A quick reminder that we have expanded opportunities to speak at the planning and zoning meetings that occur on the third Wednesday of the month, which focus on development. In a few months, we'll be sending out a survey and asking people to comment on how they feel this is going and discuss whether or not this should be moved on to other meetings. So we encourage you to attend planning and zoning meetings, both to participate in development and so that you'll be able to talk about how you feel the format of the meeting is going. A quick reminder, and I know that our officers this evening will discuss this as well, but we do want to remind people that the East Boston Police Station is now located in Eagle Square. We will ask some questions about how that transition is going to Officer Santolo and everyone this evening, but we did want to remind them. This is a voting meeting. Later on for this meeting, 1 Everett Street will present. We will be using e-ballot to manage this voting process. A reminder, in order to be eligible to vote at a monthly meeting, you must be present at this meeting and either reside within a 300-foot within a 300-foot distance of the project, which makes you an abutter, or be a resident within the JPNA boundaries and have attended another monthly meeting within the prior 3 months. The potluck that happened and occurred in December does count as a meeting and does count as attendance. As always, while people are presenting, you are welcome to submit questions into the chat. Andrew is handling our chat this evening and we'll ask them when the presenter is done. We will start this evening with our police here.
Sorry, Margaret, 1 second. We actually had 2 things come through the chat that I wanted to mention. I believe it's pronounced Claire Brooks from Councilor at Large Michael Flaherty's office has joined us.
Oh, excellent.
So thank you for joining us. And then also Gloribel Rivas from Rep Mandaro's office mentioned as a notice item that MassDOT is holding virtual public meetings tomorrow and Wednesday about the Sumner Tunnel Restoration Project. This meeting will go over the changes to the tunnel closure schedule this summer and next year. And she did include a document that I'll forward to everybody in the meeting via the chat right now. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. I believe Gloribel, just to let you know, I do believe we posted that flyer on our social media. So if people close out of this meeting and don't save it, they're welcome to check our social media. I was a little impressed. It included QR codes. I thought,
yes,
wow.
and I actually can't forward it. It won't let me. So go to our social media if you'd like to find that document.
Okay, thank you, and thank you, Gloribel. So we will move on at this time. I'd like to invite our police officers who have very kindly joined us this evening to go ahead with your presentation. And I am sure they will also mention their own community meeting that is coming up later on this evening. Oh, you're on 2 different Officer Santolo and Officer Curtis Mosley. There's like 2 of you. I'm like a little split here, but I will let whoever is planning on taking it over take it away.
Good evening all. I'm Officer Mosley.
And I'm Officer Alvarez.
And also we're joined by Sergeant Bickerton and Captain Bickerton and Sergeant Santolo. Sorry for the demotion there, Captain. But I'm gonna run through some of the things that we have for this month's meeting. I'm gonna start with March 7th, 274 Sumner Street. There was a B&E to a motor vehicle in the Maverick area. We've been having a lot of B&Es to motor vehicles, but the victim reports that they observed through video surveillance that two unknown individuals, attempted to gain access to several vehicles parked in the rear area. They managed to get in. Oh yeah, they managed to get in to one vehicle, a Toyota, SUV, which was unlocked. Please lock your vehicles. Whether you guys know it or not, they do have, and it's people who walk down the street and all they do is just try door handles to see whichever car that they can get into. Also on 3-7, we had a caller from Frankfurt and Gold Street for being into a motor vehicle. Reports that they observed the glove compartment open of their motor vehicle, and her belongings were all over the passenger seat. She also further reported that her wallet was also inside the motor vehicle and was stolen. Yeah, and which contained her personal IDs. On 3/9/23, we had 2 recovered stolen motor vehicles in the Maverick area. These vehicles were stolen out of Everett and Malden and dumped here in East Boston. On 3/8, we had, there was an aggravated assault, a fight at 127 Maverick Street, which is, there's a bar there. And so I guess these two got into a verbal argument. During the verbal argument, one of the patrons decided to hit the other one upside the head with a bottle. There was an arrest made. The detectives did respond, and there was a license premise violation issued. On 3/5 at 3 Sumner Place, caller reports that they ordered some items from Amazon, and they were notified that their items were delivered, but in fact they had been stolen. So one of the things is still an ongoing problem. We're going to ask that if you can make arrangements, if you live in a multi-tenanted building, or you're very close with your neighbors, if you could ask them if they could grab your packages and put them somewhere safe, or if the building itself has an area where your packages that have been delivered will be safe. There was a walk into the police station for a report of a credit card fraud and identity fraud. This is still an ongoing issue as well. We've had plenty of people who come in and they want to report some type of fraud, whether it be credit card or somebody using their ID or whatsoever. So just be mindful. And a lot of times too is that people are getting this information from you over the phone. They're trying to dupe people into giving out their information so they can use it for obvious, other reasons to defraud. So in 3/5, there was a robbery at 44 Border Street. Now the victim had gone to this address to visit somebody that he said he didn't, I guess allegedly a friend he didn't know too well. And while he was there, a female and some other associates came to the apartment, and he was assaulted and they stole his cell phone. So on 3/10, we also had 220 Border Street. There was a report for public drinking, and that report of the radio call actually came in for numerous people drinking alcohol beverages in Central Square at 220 Border Street. So our anti-crime unit, which is our plainclothes unit, responded, and they issued civil citations to the offenders for drinking in public. Another thing that we're still having issues with and dealing with is graffiti. A lot of graffiti complaints coming into the station. If you observe any graffiti, make sure you contact us, contact the police department, the station. And you can also do 311, but if you feel you're not getting anywhere with 311, you can always contact us and see if we can kind of fast track that and we can get that removed. And another issue that we've been dealing with is with missing kids. They had a individual last Friday, high school, 14-year-old. She was reported missing from the high school when apparently she wasn't missing. What happened was she decided that she was going to walk out the side door instead of come out the front door because she gets a ride to and from school from her mom. And she ended up in Roxbury, I believe it was. And after, speaking with her, and was the supervisor that was on scene, as well as the mother that spoke to her reasoning for leaving school was that she was tired of the mother's rules and she's tired of everybody and she needed a break. So I know a lot of people are seeing, on social media, a lot of kids missing. Well, what it is what's happening is that these kids, the parents or legal guardians are reporting missing, but what's really happening is a lot of these kids is just deciding that you know what, they're going to go do their own thing. And instead of just the parent or legal guardian waiting, they contact the police, which initiates them as being a missing persons report. So that's all I have.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Sergeant Santolo. I'm just gonna piggyback off that 274 Sumner Street. We sent the video to the board as well as the 6 other community groups. I think everybody should take a peek at it if they get a chance. It's everything we've been saying. And it's the captain's idea to send out that video. I think it was a great idea because everything we've been saying, I've been up this office for 3 years and we mentioned this about locking the doors at every meeting. There was 6 cars and the only cars that got anything taken from it were the ones that were unlocked. They didn't bother with the cars that were locked. With that said, we had about 5 other ones in the area: 111 Orleans, 377 Maverick, 113 Cottage, 274 Sumner. The same, I'm assuming it's the same 2 kids.
It appears that way. Based on the video that we've recovered, it appears to be the same 2 individuals. They're walking around checking door handles. If something pops open, they're going to spend their time in the car trying to figure out what they can get. For the ones that are locked, they just continue to move on. So the video is a good training video to give to the community groups to show them the importance of locking the car. We can speak at length about it, but being able to see the video and seeing how much time they'll actually spend in the car sort of speaks volumes to what they seek to achieve.
And 236 Maverick Street, we had a larceny of a vehicle, and you guessed it, car was left running. Okay, wish we had video on that because we keep saying that also, and it keeps happening. I just want to touch on one more thing. I've been touching about people with dementia, and we actually had 3 weeks ago had a caller call us 911 and say, "There's a gentleman out here, shorts, no shoes on, looks confused," and he had dementia, and he was only a block away from his house, and we were able to get him home safely. So that's why we tell you these things. It was an excellent job by the caller. That could get a little hairy if he wanders off. Most of the time, it's different towns. So, and the domestics are still up. I don't know. It's a hard crime for us to stop. But if you know anybody, again, if you know anybody in toxic relationships, talk to them, to have them give us a call, go for a walk. I'm going to keep giving the same advice, but we keep having the same issues. With that, the captain's here. If we have any questions, we'll take them now.
We do have one comment from resident in the chat here. At night, there are usually cars idling on Brigham Street and drinking/smoking. They state, I'm assuming it's not cigarettes. It may be worth sending a patrol car to that area at night. That's kind of like a forgotten little dead end street over there.
Do we have the time frames?
They just stated at night.
Okay.
Another person is asking if you have any information about your upcoming community meeting.
Yeah. So we have so many partners and we have so many events that we don't have enough officers to go to all these events. So the captain wants to make a schedule, space them out, make sure no one is having events on the same day if we can help it. And this meeting is going to help, help that cause. Get anything else?
You're talking about the one on the 30th?
I'm assuming so, yes.
Yeah, so the one on the 30th, what I'm looking for is a representative, just one representative from each community group. We currently have about 7 community groups, plus we have the senior center, and then we have Shore Plaza. And what I'm looking to do is try to get a schedule from everyone, what events they have, so that way we don't have any conflicts. We can be sure to provide someone to be in attendance, looking to support each other as a community. Here in East Boston, one community group might have something that another one doesn't know about. And the best way for us to support each other is if we know what each other are having. And then that will allow us the opportunity to attend different events, not just as the police, but as community as a whole. If Harborview is having something that Jeffrey's Point wants to go to, something along those lines, just a way to support each other.
So I guess I'm a little confused. I'm sorry. So Is your meeting in conjunction with the Eastie Week meeting? Or are these two separate meetings?
2 separate meetings. This is only one rep from every community group. And we're gonna go over scheduling. It's nothing to do with Easter week.
Okay, because the thing is, I believe that the planning group for Eastie Week is meeting the same night at the same time, and that might be why you're really struggling to get people.
I think we have 49 already committed.
Yeah, we have.
Okay. Oh, you
Yeah.
said 7 organizations. I was like, well, that's really low.
No, what it is one person from each, but then we have other groups, like we have Holy Redeemer, we have Pastor Dave, we
Okay.
have Suffolk Downs, we have just different organizations, but the community groups as a whole, we're just looking for one member per community group.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying. I've seen advertisements for several different meetings going on, and I do know that for a fact that there's a number of people here who are a part of several other organizations that, would probably want to participate in your meeting. So thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so the Brigham Street issue that I mentioned earlier, I've been told that it's around 10 o'clock usually that it's being noticed.
Send somebody by.
Oh, great. Thank you. Also question, is there anything that can be done about double parking on the main streets? It's becoming a very common occurrence and causing a lot of traffic.
Are you talking about Sumner and Maverick?
That would be my guess, yes.
Yeah, we can, we'll address it with the officers downstairs, have them move them, site if necessary.
So in conjunction with that, I always recommend also Boston Transportation Department. They have a lot more at their disposal than we do. I only have 8 officers in the street at a time, which is 6 units. So when they're not dedicated, I'll definitely put it on the agenda for all the supervisors to make sure. But Boston Transportation Department's another one that they have the officers that are out there also.
They definitely don't have that many officers over here. There's only one officer for the entire neighborhood.
Really?
Correct. That's all the questions I have.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. So we will move on to Nathalia Benitez-Perez. She is our mayor's representative or liaison here in East Boston, and I know that she has several things to announce. So Nathalia, please take it away.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Margaret, and the board for giving me the space. I have quite a few announcements, so I'll just run through all of them, and then I will start putting all the links on the chat, and we can answer questions right after too. First one is Love Your Block. So we invite you to this year's Boston's annual Love Your Block cleanup. So join us for a morning of beautification in every neighborhood of Boston as we clean up our streets, sidewalks, parks, and open spaces. Love Your Block will take place on April 29th this year, and more details are to come as we just confirmed the date today. I also wanted to talk to people about open streets. I don't know if a lot of the residents here know what open streets are, but last year the mayor initiated an effort, it's an event that's going to be taking place one day a year in some neighborhoods of Boston. Last year it was Roxbury, Dorchester, and Jamaica Plain. So we basically close 1.5 miles worth of street for about 7 hours, 6 hours on a Sunday. So the idea is for people to come out with their kids and families and spend the day, support local businesses, and just enjoy the weather, enjoy outside. And we're still working with Boston Transportation Department on the route, but it looks like it's going to be October 15th. So we're still finalizing the details. So as soon as I have all the details, I'll be sure to email everything to the board so we can get the word out. Let's see what else I have. Recycling mattresses. This is an Andrew's topic. So what is curbside mattress recycling? So as of January 1st, mattresses are no longer accepted with trash in the state of Massachusetts. So the city of Boston is now collecting mattresses and recycles them for residents living in buildings with 6 units or less free of charge. So if you do have a mattress, please contact 311. They will require information and then they'll pick it up like about 4 or 5 days later.
I'll
Now,
let you, Natalia, I'll tell you, I put one in the other day and they came like the next day. So it's
yeah,
definitely,
so I was
it's
gonna
definitely
touch that.
improved. Yeah,
Yes.
it's
So-
definitely improved. Thank you.
Yes, all right. So after many, many meetings with 311 and Public Works, we were having an issue where a lot of the residents still didn't know about this program. Also, a lot of issues with Chelsea, Winthrop, and Revere because they are charging for the service like $80 per mattress. So if you had a box spring and a mattress, you were paying like $160 for removal. So what we started seeing is that people were coming to East Boston and dumping mattresses illegally. Now, we had a few hiccups at the beginning where the mattresses will be lying in the street for 4 or 5 days waiting for them to be picked up. We were able to work with Public Works. So if you do see a mattress that's illegally dumped in the street, please contact 311. You can do it on the app or you can call them and let them know this is an illegally dumped item, and Public Works will pick it up with either the same day or the next day. So we are working through that. All right, what else? Sorry, I have so much stuff. Community Preservation Act. So residents can now apply to be one of the 4 nominees selected by the Boston City Council to serve on the Community Preservation Committee. The CPC is a 9-member board that recommends projects to the mayor and the city of Boston for Community Preservation's fund. The Community Preservation Act, a ballot question that was passed by Boston voters in November 2016, brings over $20 million to the city annually. Funding must be used for projects in 3 areas, which is affordable housing, historic preservation, and open space outdoor recreation facilities. CPC members are, they serve as unpaid volunteers for a term of 3 years with a maximum of 2 terms. All CPC members must be Boston residents, and I will link the application on the chat after I'm done speaking. And the deadline to apply is Friday, March 17th. Now, weather and cold related stuff. We are probably going to have a storm tomorrow. So I wanted to let everybody know that we have warming centers. So when the mayor declares a winter weather emergency, we make BCYF community centers available as warming centers. How many centers we open up depends on the need, but I would also leave the list of those that will be open tomorrow if we declare a winter weather emergency. If there are power outages, please call your utility company to report any outages. You can also call 311 with any concerns or questions. They'll be happy to connect you with National Grid or Eversource. And I have one more. Well, that's it. Yep, that is it. So if there's any questions, I would love to take them.
Anything in the chat?
No questions in the chat.
Okay. Nathalia, can I ask you to share your email that we could send out in the chat just in case anybody has questions and they didn't get a chance to ask?
Absolutely.
Or would like to be interested or would like to contact you with anything else. As always, we are here to support you, your neighborhood association. However, Nathalia does represent the mayor's office. So if you have other questions, you are always welcome to contact her as well.
I just put the email in the chat.
Thank you so much. Next, we will move on to Bill Masterson. Bill is the head of Tree Eastie, a wonderful local organization who works to promote and expand the tree canopy here in East Boston. They've had tremendous success planting trees, especially street trees and tree pits. And he's going to tell us about some of their great work for this past year and some of the things they have coming up this year. Thanks for joining us tonight, Bill. Thank you.
Thank you as well, Margaret, and to the entire board, and thanks to the community at Jeffrey's Point. Do you want to share those slides, or should I give it a shot? What do you think?
Oh, you were supposed to send us your slides. We didn't think you had any today. So how many slides do you have? Can I ask?
There are about 7.
So normally we do like to have the board share them because we do like to put them all in one document for people to review after. Let's see, I think Andrew is the host. Andrew, can you share co-hosting ability with Bill for him to share the slides? And Bill, you need to send those to us as soon as the meeting's over, please.
Sure. Yep.
Okay. How does that sound, Andrew?
Sorry, I'm trying to do it right now.
Okay.
This will be a first for me, so let's see if it even works.
Well, while he's loading that up, could you remind us, when was Tree Eastie founded? Because it's been a couple of years now.
Yeah, so about 2.5 years ago, we were founded, and primarily, so I guess I'll send a couple of main messages. The first is that Boston ranks 53rd out of the top 50 cities in the country in terms of tree canopy cover, which is bad. You don't want to be at 53 out of 43, sorry, out of 50. East Boston has the lowest tree canopy in the city of Boston at 7%. So that's why we went into business, basically. And I say that because our mission is to plant trees, maintain trees, and also to educate residents. So we're an environmental justice community. As everyone knows, we're severely impacted by the airport, by highways. Up to 3 to 4 children in East Boston are 3 to 4 times more likely to get childhood asthma. Our average daily summertime temperature is on average 7 degrees higher than the rest of the city. So we need trees, and that's what we're set up to do. I have to give a shout out to our volunteers. We would be nowhere or nothing if it weren't for the volunteers. So a lot of them reside in Jeffreys Point. A lot of our volunteers come from Jeffreys Point, which is really good for us. We've planted, I think, over 20 trees now in Jeffreys Point, and that's in addition to what the city has planted. So Andrew, can I try to share it, or is that something that's going to be?
Yes, that's what I was just going to say. I think it's already set up for you. You just have to share at the bottom. It's set up for one person at a time to share.
Okay, so if I hit the share screen button,
It should work. Yep.
In theory.
yeah. No, it's not, and I don't want to take any more time, so that's okay.
You can email if you want to email the presentation to the board, and then board@jeffreyspoint.org, and then I can pull it up.
Okay. Do you want to go on to the next person on the agenda, and then I will be ready to go when my turn comes after them?
So if we do that, the next person is our Boston City Councilor, Gabriela Coletta. So it will be a few minutes.
She actually just joined.
Yes, I know. That's why I was like,
Oh, you mean she'll be talking for a few minutes? Okay, yeah.
yeah, like so just to warn you, it would be probably a solid 15 minutes.
That's fine. I have no problem with that.
Okay, excellent. So, Gabriela, we are joined this evening by our Boston City Councilor here in District 1, Gabriela Coletta. The mission of the Jeffreys Point Neighborhood Association is to build community. And there are several other good things, but the part we're going to focus on her is that we do like to interact with our elected officials to have the opportunity to hear about their focus areas and ask any questions. A quick reminder that we encourage you to put questions in the chat while Gabriela is speaking. She's going to present for a few minutes, and then we'll move to the questions in the chat and cover them. But Gabriela, you've been here many times, so I will let you take it away.
Thank you so much, Margaret, and thank you also so much for allowing me to give a presentation today. It's always a pleasure to be here at JPNA. This is my second time before this organization since being in office for the last 10 months. I'm going to milk that for as long as possible, but it's important for me to stay grounded in community and be as accessible as possible, because you all help inform my work and my advocacy every single day, and you have for the last 10 months. And so I'd love to update you on some of the things that we've been working on and looking ahead, especially through the budget cycle, some of the things that I am focusing on and advocating for. But actually, you know what, since I came last time and I talked about the major buckets of policy that I intend to prioritize, I'm thinking affordable housing, climate resiliency, excellent schools, and quality constituent services. I'll just focus on some of the things that I would like to see through this budget, and then make time and prioritize the dialogue portion of it. So it just to start out, it's always been a pleasure to be here and represent East Boston on the Boston City Council. Last time I was here, we did discuss a lot of things as it related to parking enforcement and trash and all of that. One thing we did not get into that I just want to prioritize here in this space is planning and development, just given the fact that the BBDA is continuing through Plan East Boston. There have been a lot of meetings that have taken place and a lot of feedback from the community. So I just want to make sure to say thank you to all of you who have submitted comments. I want to just reiterate to submit comments to both my office and the BPDA, because I am actively taking in where the community is at on this. I have some serious concerns as it relates to dimensions in rear yard and side yard setback. In some areas, height and density as well. I don't think that we can take a blanketed approach to a very nuanced community, but I have been in active conversations with Chief Jameson and the BPDA team on how to ensure we are protecting what makes our community beautiful at the end of the day, enhancing spaces while ultimately planning for the inclusion of all folks. So please be sure to send your thoughts and comments on the plans to me before the comment deadline ends. So just as it relates to City Council and City Hall, it's been an absolute joy to advocate for this district. I absolutely love this job, and leveraging existing relationships with councilors, chiefs, commissioners, department heads, and our city workers has been incredible, because I feel like I've really been able to hit the ground running and get things done while also being creative and trying to navigate the bureaucracy that is City Hall to get results for everybody. And so when it comes to the budget season, it starts in late April. And this is the second year that the council has the ability to adjust various line items in the operating budget. And so we're moving forward from lessons learned from last year. And I got thrown into that happily in May of last year, and was still able to secure millions of dollars for this district through various programming in different departments, BCYF. I tried with parking enforcement, but didn't get it. So I will be doubling down on that advocacy moving forward. But I did just want to get out in the community ahead of time, given the fact that I have runway at this point. We have about a month and a half before it starts. And so I wanted to solicit comments and get out and explain the budget process for a lot of folks. So the way that I'm going to be doing this is through budget town halls. And I will be having 2 budget town halls in East Boston. One which is supposed to take place this Wednesday at the police station at 6 p.m. But it is pending our weather situation. 1 hour I see we're going to get 2 inches. The next hour I see 8 inches. So just to be determined at this moment in time. But this is a way for me, like I said, to just explain what the budget process is, how it works, highlight some of my priorities, including parking enforcement, expanding resources for our tree canopy, and just shout out to Bill Masterson, who's just an incredible advocate for this community and this district. I want to talk about more resources for trash pickups, greater investments in youth programming, resources for small businesses, all of that. So I'll put more information in the chat, but I just wanted to tell you all about that. Oh, and the second one, because I talked about the first one, but the second one is going to be focused in on immigrant communities. And so we will have translation, food, babysitting on Saturday morning, March 25th at 10 a.m. at the East Boston Library. And everyone is welcome to that. One of my other priorities is ensuring that we get additional resources to the Immigrants Lead Boston program, which provides a civic education for folks who are new to this country and gets them involved. It's a wonderful program. I was able to get an additional $100,000 for it last year. And some of our community members and neighbors went through the process, and it's just been a wonderful experience for them. So I want to grow on that this year. Just as it relates, so shifting from the City Council and City Hall directly into the community, it's really important for me to get out there and to give back and encourage others to give back to this neighborhood. So last year we were able to do a summer of service initiative where we did trash pickups along the waterfront. We'll continue to do that again. We did food distribution at the East Boston Soup Kitchen. And we also dropped off hundreds of supplies to seniors. And these supplies are non-traditional items. So these are things that are costing a little bit more for our seniors who are on a fixed income because of inflation. The dollar isn't going as far. This is food, or excuse me, soap, shampoo, conditioner, toilet paper, paper towels. And so just trying to give back as much as possible is very important to me. When it comes to food distribution, I did just announce a first in the nation proposal with Councilor Arroyo for a food recovery program. And it takes edible, safe to consume food from major retailers like Stop and Shop, Tate Bakery, Sugar, Shaw's, and gives it directly to folks on the ground in record time like the East Boston Soup Kitchen, who are feeding hundreds of people every single week in our community. So right now it's just a proposal. There will be a hearing and a working session in the near future, but that's something that I just wanted to highlight as a marquee proposal that will have real and lasting impacts in our community. Be on the lookout for a major trash campaign on behalf of my neighborhood. I have heard so much and I see it every single day. I walk everywhere. I try to get 10,000 steps in. I walk from Trenton Street to Maverick almost every day, and I see the trash on the streets. And I know that our folks at Public Works are really trying their best. One thing I want to do is just approach it from multiple layers. So getting more trash barrels, more hokies, working with Public Works to talk to our contractors for best practices when they do pick up trash, in addition to working with some of our neighborhood groups that are already doing trash pickups. And of course, the administration expanding the Love Your Block and what that means in terms of resources through the budget cycle. I would also love to work with elementary schools to develop a Don't Litter sign campaign. Those were things that were huge when I was younger, and trying to get those up everywhere in store windows. So we're working through this right now, but it's important to me to say it here because I have been hearing from a lot of people that trash is just at a ridiculous point in our community.
Gabriela, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I do have a question in the chat about that specifically. So I feel like this is a good time just for me to interject. I know personally you ran your campaign on talking about improving basic city services in the neighborhood, and I am happy to hear that you are going to be pushing for increased parking enforcement for next year. But trash is a definite problem in the neighborhood. I personally have not seen a hokey on my street all winter long. So there's trash that's been there for months and months and months, and I do my part and try and clean up my little area of the block, but I can't do everything. And I think that it would be important to have that be part of the budget conversation as well, to have more of those. But the comment directly from the resident is, how can the city councilor help us get more public trash cans in Jeffries Point? The trash is everywhere, and it seems like a low-cost, simple solution to install permanent trash receptacles on street corners or in front of public parks. And we've been asking for this for a while, and frequently the answer that we get is that we've had a problem in the past with people putting their residential trash into these barrels. There are simple ways around that as well. So I'd like to hear what your idea is about that.
Of course. And so something that I want to do is just do an audit of how many trash barrels are located in this district, figure out where some of the opportunities are in high traffic streets.
Jeffries Point has 2.
They just have 2 barrels.
2 public trash cans, actually 3. 3 now if you count the one in front of Carmela's, that's it.
Okay, well that's good to know. I mean, I remember when we fought really hard to get trash barrels up and down Brook Street, but they were not great when it comes to stopping some of the residential trash that was put in there. So working with Public Works to figure out what the best models are, I'm happy to do that and to fight for more trash barrels in Jeffries Point. That you certainly have my commitment for that. Lenny, our hokey, tries his best. He's one person for X amount of blocks in East Boston. He needs help.
But and that's what my point was, is that something that's going to be on your budget priority for next year?
100%, yeah. So it's trash barrels. It's trying to approach it from all different angles. So it's trash barrels, hokies, trying to figure out if hokies can come by specifically on trash pickup days so that when trash ultimately does fall out of the barrels, that they're there to pick it up. That's what I see almost every day happening. So coordinating those schedules is going to be important. And then I also just think it comes down to good behavior and being a good neighbor, and trying to, and there's data to prove this, but actually shaming people into not littering is effective. And I think that we need more signs that are in both English and Spanish to show people that this is a neighborhood and to respect your neighbors and your community at the end of the day. So that's why I was talking about a sign campaign that we can put up everywhere. And so those are things that I'm actively discussing with the administration.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. So I think I can stop there. I wanted to just reiterate that it's important for me to be accessible and be responsive. I want to give a shout out to my wonderful staffer, Sebastian Plata, who's my East Boston Liaison, and Gabriela Ramirez, who's now my Outreach and Communications Manager. They've been absolutely lovely in answering hundreds of emails and attending dozens of community meetings and events. And so I just want to say thank you to them. And thank you to all of you for your advocacy. You all reach out and you let me know when there's an issue, we try our best to follow up in a timely manner. Obviously hold me accountable in areas in which we could do better. And I'm always trying to figure out how to be more effective and efficient for you. At the end of the day, that's what I love about city government. We can do all of the larger policy balloons, as I mentioned before, housing affordability, climate resiliency, but city government and municipal government is there to just make your quality of life better and ultimately enhance what you see out your front door every single day. So that's very, very important to me. So I just want to say thank you all for allowing me to be here in this space. And I'm here to listen at this point and answer any questions that you might have.
Andrew?
Oh, there's nothing else at this moment. Sorry, Margaret.
Okay. I'm sure that there are people who are fiercely typing at the moment. So let's try to give them just a quick minute.
I'm sorry, I did skip one by accident. I apologize. This person stated, although this is not the highest priority, the last time you were here, it was pointed out that there is nowhere in East Boston to properly dispose of sharps, meaning like injectable needles and things like that. Has there been any movement on that? And obviously, this is something that's not just related to any sort of like illegal drug use. This is also something that's important for people who use injectable drugs at home for regular prescribed options as well.
Yeah, and thank you to the individual who just brought this up to me. So I'm looking at my emails right now. I did send an email to the Office of Recovery Services just asking about what the process is to get a Sharps box here in the community. There hasn't been any movement on that. This is a good thing that I'm here just to follow up on. So I'll be sure to do that. And then hopefully at some point in the future, Sebastian can come with an update. But it is something that I support just generally. And I know that my state delegation supports it as well. And it's just a matter of good public health and supporting folks who just want to dispose of these needles safely.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, so this person is asking about, and this is right on my priority list as well. I have a big issue with the city not being able to enforce out-of-state parking and ticketing. This goes back to BTD, our normal BTD issue, which has been going on for years and years. I've seen New Jersey, Connecticut, Vermont. This is what this person is saying on Marginal, McCormick Square, Webster Street. What are some steps for the city to deal with this in East Boston?
Yeah, and thank you so much for this question. So this is a high priority for me. I just spoke with somebody from Intergovernmental Relations today about this topic, and I spoke to BTD last week on Friday, directly to the commissioner. So I wanted to get just a table set and a snapshot of where we are as a city in terms of where we even know where we need to enforce. It turns out that the city does not have a registry or anything that shows where certain signs are. They don't know where their city assets are. They basically use it through institutional knowledge. And so that was very frustrating for me to hear. And so my ask of them was, what are you doing to correct that? Because right now, the only person that has this knowledge are the existing enforcement officers, and then they pass it down. And so what they had told me is that they have hired 10 transportation planners to deal with something like this, and also working with the Do It department. So this is the Department of Information Technology, to develop some sort of GIS mapping system to figure out where exactly the residential parking signs are, where 2-hour parking signs are, just so we know and have a lay of the land, just to begin with. And it's 2023 and we're just now figuring this out. So that is a priority of mine, ensuring that those transportation planners are focusing on that, ensuring that we have enough resources to actually get this GIS mapping tool up and running. Do It has had staffing capacity issues the last couple of years because so many people need their services, and they're really the only technology staffers in the city of Boston beyond the contracts that we have. So calling for those resources. But then also, once we have that knowledge, what it actually, and even before then in the interim, ensuring that we have enough enforcement officers. And from that conversation, I had heard that we really only have 3 citywide officers at any given point overnight. And I know that that's an issue. We only have about 3 officers on duty at any given time in East Boston. And to me, that's not enough. And I have heard from this neighborhood that we need more. And so I will be pushing for
It's
that.
interesting because when we actually talk to the BTD officers themselves, they say that there's only 1 in East Boston, but then we hear differently from the city itself. So how do we find out exactly how many officers we actually have in East Boston?
Yeah, so I've asked for a complete accounting of who is on at what time, and there are different shifts. So there could be some overlapping at some point. So somebody from 8 a.m. to 2, and then somebody from 11 to whatever. So I will send that information over to you once I get it. But that is an ask that I have made of the administration as early as Friday.
Okay, and then did you have anything else about that particular topic? Because there's a question about a different topic for you.
That's all I have for now. We can.
Okay. This next question is, during your campaign, you mentioned your support for an elected school committee. It sounds like the council agrees, but has not made any progress with the mayor. What are your next steps on this topic?
Thank you again for this question. We just brought up the home rule petition, or excuse me, the ordinance establishing the elected school committee. I voted in favor of it. I forget exactly what the number is, but it passed the council and then ultimately was vetoed by the mayor. So I have been in conversations with some advocacy organizations and trying to figure out what the next steps are. For right now, we don't have a veto-proof majority. It only passed actually with 7 votes, and so we need 9 votes to veto the mayor. And at this point, I don't think that we have that. So there haven't been additional conversations within the council, but certainly with advocacy groups trying to figure out what the next strategies are to get this moving.
It's unfortunate that the representing body of the city is going to be outweighed by 1 person. Brian, the next question is, there seems to be a lot of private developer money from Cargo Ventures pushing for the use of MassDOT land along the Chelsea Creek for the Hall Road to benefit airport expansion along the Chelsea Creek. And this is the last question, by the way. Do you support or oppose this private developer using this land for his trucks?
It's a great question. And I honestly don't have an answer because I'm looking at everything right now. I'm trying to solicit as much data and information as possible. At least for me, what I have seen in terms of truck data from both MassDOT, I combined Massport and MassDOT, but MassDOT is that the benefits would be negligible. There really wouldn't be that many trucks that are being taken off of Route 1A. So I see that and I question, right? And I've also pushed the individual to have better climate resiliency strategies along the Chelsea Creek. That area is not ground zero for flooding in East Boston by any means, but it's certainly a vulnerable port where we need to fortify our coastline to be able to meet the sea and have permeable spaces. Having a haul road there while also having a seawall without any nature-based solutions or a park is not going to benefit the thousands of folks who could be displaced because of the coastal flooding that's there. And so this is a real opportunity for this stretch of land. And so I'm looking at it very, very closely and trying to solicit as many comments from the community as possible. I've heard from folks in favor of the Hall Road, but I don't know if there's any advocacy on the opposite side. So if you feel a certain way, no matter what it is, please reach out to my office and I'll be sure to respond and take it into consideration.
Okay, thank you. Margaret?
So Gabriela, I want to thank you so much for being here tonight. Like I asked Nathalia, if I could ask you to put some of your contact information in the chat. If people didn't get a chance to ask a question or if they have something else that they'd like to pursue with your office, we want to make sure we connect them right away.
I'll put all that information in the chat.
I put Sebastian's in there already if you want to just have that, but that's up to you. I can put yours too.
Okay, and now we will continue on with Bill Masterson from Tree Eastie.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Gabriela. Have a good night. Bill, you're on mute.
Hey, there we go. Let's try to get through this presentation. So thank you for pulling it up. There's going to be some good shots in here that I wanted to share. This is the first one. So we have a lot of data at our fingertips to be able to really point out to the fact that, which is something we already know, East Boston is in need of more trees. So this is basically a heat map that shows the central corridors of heat in East Boston. Our focus is going to be putting trees in those critical heat islands. You can go to the next slide. So in addition to Climate Ready Boston and some other tools, this is one that American Forest developed, which is pretty cool. It allows you to be able to get down to the block level and look at what the current tree canopy is and then what the potential tree canopy could be. So this area is outside of Maverick Square, kind of near Orleans and Everett, 8% tree canopy cover. It has other information in there, such as the number of people in that block that live in poverty, a health risk index, as well as a surface temperature. So what we're looking to do is really plant the right tree in the right place. So Eastie has planted over 160 trees in East Boston over the last couple of years. We have a formal agreement with the city of Boston. We are the only Friends group in the city of Boston that has such an agreement that allows us to be able to work closely with Parks and Recreation as well as the tree warden to coordinate where trees are going to be planted. So we've, in addition to putting the 160 trees in the ground, we've launched an Adopt a Tree program, which basically allows residents to sign up to adopt a tree in front of their home. We've got 90 trees that have been adopted so far, whether they've been planted by us or by the city of Boston. We need 20 gallons of water a week for the first 2, if not 3 years of their life. Other areas that we're working on that are near and dear to a lot of your hearts is the Rockies. So we're turning that area into an orchard. We've planted about 20 fruit trees there. We're going to continue to maintain that area, clean that area, and ultimately be able to make it a place where people in the neighborhood can enjoy a little bit more. We also partner with local organizations, NOAA, Eastie Farm, as well as the Salesian Boys and Girls Club on watering programs. So we've went out and purchased wagons and 5-gallon Poland Spring jugs. You may have seen them walking through your neighborhoods in the summer time with the tree team program. They're watering trees as well. You can move on to the next slide. So in addition, an additional tool that we're using that American Forest has put at our disposal is where we have the ability to be able to plant trees where there's no tree cover. So out of the 160 trees that we've planted so far in East Boston, most of those have gone in empty tree wells. That was low-hanging fruit for us. That's what we went after. We've pretty much filled every empty tree well in East Boston. So now we're starting to break sidewalks. It's going to be more expensive for us to do, but this will allow us to be able to put trees in those high urban heat islands where there's heavy foot traffic. So this is on Lower Meridian Street between Maverick and Central. Met with the tree warden 2 weeks ago. We walked that area. We marked the curbstones. If you walk down Meridian Street, you'll see white tees on the curbstone. That's where 50 new trees are going to be planted between Maverick Square and just past Central Square up to Princeton Street. So we're really excited about this. It's the first time we've actually broken a sidewalk, but this is where our focus is going to be right now, is just looking at where the most heavily trafficked heat islands are, and that's where we'll continue to plant trees. Okay, next slide. So as I said, more trees in the highest heat islands. We're going to do a Rockies cleanup. And we're also holding a tree pruning class. I think it's March 28th. If you go to our website, it'll have the date on there, or I'll send it to you guys, to Margaret and Andrew and company. That's going to be really cool. We're going to teach the community how to prune a street tree or a fruit tree. We've got park trees that we're going to be planting in honor of Arbor and Earth Week. So we've got 16 new trees. We actually had proposed to put trees in Porzio, but was told by the city that Porzio is on the list for capital improvements over the next 2 to 3 years. And they didn't want us to plant any trees there, but we are planting a significant number in Prescott Park, Noyes Park, as well as Memorial Park over nearby the stadium. We've got, I mentioned up front, we've got a tremendous group of volunteers. We've got teams that are working on writing grants and hanging these adopted tree tags from the trees. We've got a group working on bilingual tree benefits. We feel that the general population in East Boston doesn't really understand the benefits of trees. And so we're developing and are going to be going door to door and handing tree benefit literature out to residents to educate them on the benefits of trees, as well as let them know where they can get a new street tree planted in front of their home. We've got another team that's working on launching the website. There it is there. That's the URL. You can get on that site and you can volunteer with the organization. You can ask for a yard tree. So that's something new that we're going to be doing this year. We're offering free yard trees to residents. You can sign up right online, or you can adopt a tree as well. We've been working with developers to advocate for trees to be part of their plans. That's been somewhat successful for us. It's an easy ask, but I would just ask the folks that are in the audience tonight, as you get developers to come in front of your community, to push them on community meetings, push them on adding street trees and yard trees. To them, if they're breaking up the sidewalk, a street tree is going to cost them $1,000, which is a rounding error in a budget when you're converting a 2-family to a 4-family. So. And then we're still applying for more grants. You can go on to the next slide. In addition to our volunteers, we've got some awesome partners. So we've received some nice grants from TD Bank, the new branch in Maverick Square. The East Boston Foundation has been very generous. Delta Airlines wants to put more trees into East Boston because that's where their footprint is. And DCR has also been helpful. And we partner as well with Boston Parks Recreation. We've got a great relationship with them. They've just finished an urban forest master plan where they're now going to be planting street trees through an equity lens. So because we have a very high percentage of the population is living below the poverty line, as well as a 7% tree canopy, you're going to see in the next couple of years that East Boston is going to be getting more than their fair share of trees now that they're going to be allocated with using that equity lens. We partner with
Bill, I just want to give you, we do have one more presentation tonight, Everett. So I just want to give you a 5-minute warning, and that includes all questions.
Yeah, okay. So I think the next slide's the last slide. Here you go. Come grow with us. I mean, there's some of your neighbors. Those pictures were taken across East Boston with our Legion of Volunteers. There's our email address there. I'd encourage you to get on our website and sign up. We're going to be doing more tree plantings this spring. So yeah, we've got plans to plant over 100 trees in 2023. You can adopt a tree on the website. Just asking if you are so inclined to grow your relationship with us. So you can go to the next slide. That's just the cover slide, Margaret, and happy to answer any questions that anybody might have.
Okay. Oh, everything's moving on me now. This question was answered in your slide. This person is stating Porzio Park has been on the list of parks for community improvement for the last 10 years. So you might want to just plant a tree there. This question is, would Tree Eastie qualify for support from the Community Preservation Act funding?
Yes, so the deadline for submitting an application is this fall. We plan on doing that. So we'll get our preliminary application in August, and then I think they make their decisions in October. I've already had some discussions with those folks, and yeah, we can absolutely apply for a CPA grant.
This is actually a question for myself. You mentioned the fruit trees, and we know in the Rockies there's already quite a few of them. Is there a plan in place to collect the fruit or to utilize the fruit in some way? Because I know we have some fruit trees that are in people's property up here on Webster Street, and the fruit just tends to just fall on the ground. And we've also been told that that can create an issue with rats, which we don't really like in the neighborhood. So not that I want to deter from you planting trees, but I'm just curious if there's a plan in place for the collection of that fruit.
Yeah, no, great question. You saw in one of the slides that we partner with Eastie Farm. So the reason why we planted those fruit trees there was to harvest in the fall and then put them back into the community via Eastie Farm. The trees are too young. There are some mature trees there, like crab apples, that are inedible, and mulberry, which we really haven't attacked yet, but we can actually start to pick some mulberries. They're pretty large, but generally the fruit trees there, apple, cherry, pear, and peach, and that's why we're doing that pruning, because you need to prune those fruit trees in order to be able to maximize the amount of fruit that's coming out of them. So yeah, I mean, we didn't get many last year, just a lot of cherries and a few pear, but as the years go on, we're going to take that produce and we're going to put it back into the community. We've actually we've got a great relationship with the Urban Wilds folks as well. We're going to be doing work there at the end of the month in coordination with that tree pruning, this fruit tree pruning. Or we're going to continue to work on the balcony that's behind the community garden. But yeah, once we do that and we start to produce fruit, we'll put it back into the community. So yeah, good question.
Awesome. Thank you. That's actually the last question.
Awesome. Great. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, Bill, I just want to take a quick moment on behalf of the entire community and on behalf of our board to say thank you for your efforts on our behalf. Our entire community benefits with the planting of every tree, both in terms of lowering temperature and making our air quality safer as well. So thank you very much for your efforts. And could we ask you to also provide your contact information, and we will put that in the chat as well to make it easier for people to access.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you, folks. Good night.
No problem. Thank you. So at the end of our agenda, but by no means last in our hearts, we have 1 Everett Street. This is a proposal to erect a new 3-story mixed-use residential building with ground floor space for its existing tenant, which is CrossFit Studio. This would include 14 apartment units on the upper level, on-site vehicular parking, and related site upgrades at this residential section of the development. There would be a demolition of an existing building. Currently, the developer is Richard Garaffo, and they are represented this evening by Joseph Hanley Esquire and Thomas Miller Esquire, both of whom I see here. So
Margaret.
But before you continue, just everyone, please remember, this will help get your questions across quickly at the end. Please, if you have a question, type it in right away as you think of that question and hit send. I will try and get to every single question.
Yep. Thank you, Andrew. Go ahead.
All right, you ready for us, Margaret? Can everyone hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Excellent. All right, I'm told I have 5 minutes, so I'll make it quick. My name is Joe Hanley. I am the zoning and permitting attorney for Richard Garaffo, the owner and proponent. Avery RTG is a local East Boston based development company. It's done a lot of good work in your neighborhood. Also with me is Bill Paquette, who is our architect, and you were introduced to Tom Miller. I'll go through the presentation. I'll have our team available for question and answer. First slide here shows you the site, 1 Everett Street, at the intersection of Everett and Orleans, a mere 700 feet from the MBTA train station. Next slide, please. So the site now is, we are in a residential zone. We have non-conforming structures and uses. That includes a garage building with 2 bays, vast curb cuts around it, as well as a single-story nondescript building. The site is almost entirely impervious, and it's also located in what we heard from Bill as a high heat island location. There are 0 street trees around the perimeter of our site. Next slide, please. Our vision is shared. It's what you heard, I think, articulated by the councilor, by this group in the past, and by Mr. Masterson as well. And it is to create an improved space and to have a development without displacement, and to do it in a way that is responsible, both with respect to sustainability, but also contributing to the environment, the quality of life of the neighborhood. Next slide, please. This kind of shows you where we came from. This is our 7th meeting with this group. We started exactly 2 years ago on St. Patrick's Day with our first meeting. At that point, we showed you a much taller building and a larger building with 30 residential proposed units. Through a series of meetings and iterations and input from this group in the neighborhood, we have dramatically reduced the size of the project to a 3-story building to comport with the context of the area for 14 units of home ownership, 7 on-street parking spaces, and off-street, and we were able to maintain and provide a new state-of-the-art space for our East Boston CrossFit and for the Suffolk County DA's office. Next slide, please. Just to show you the site, this is a site plan. You'll see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new street trees. So Bill's delivered 160. We're going to work with them to make that 165. Again, there are 0 street trees there today. We are going to be breaking up the sidewalk. As he indicated, that sidewalk now is mostly inaccessible, narrow, and a vestige of the non-conforming condition at the site. We are going to improve that into complete street standards, and we're going to have an active ground floor with the fitness use and the office use in a central lobby entrance. Parking accessible off Everett Street. We have made the entrance to the parking as narrow as possible at 12 feet to quiet traffic coming in and out. And we have 7 parking spaces, one of which will be an exclusive vehicle share for the residents of the building. Next slide, please. So you see this in rendered form, again, 3 stories. That is a height that is less than what the zoning requires. Setting back on the main level, so there's about 61% lot coverage. So we're giving back space that allows us to, again, widen those sidewalks, activate it, invite the public in, and have much more of a prominent corner and contributing architecture. Next slide, please. Shows you, this is a view looking down Orleans Street. This is the ZoomX building. We show you that to show that our proposed height is a little less or consistent with that. Next slide. Aerial view, we've created very small, 5 very small terraces that are within and behind the parapet to provide some usable open space for the units on the top level. They're all accessed by hatches, so as to minimize any rooftop structures. Next slide. This shows you, these are the floor plans, shows you the ground floor. You'll see at the top is Orleans Street. That rectangular shape will be for the new space for East Boston CrossFit. Javi, who has been a member of your community and was operated there, is now on the waterfront, will be coming back, and that's why we call this a development without displacement. And we're excited for him to have a brand new space that has noise reduction and proper HVAC and the like. Next slide, please. As we go up, we have 7 units on each floor. Again, only 3 stories. So on the 2nd level and the 3rd level of the 14 units, we're also doing 2 affordable units, and you'll see them in the pink hash. The unit breakdown: 4 studios, 8 1-bedrooms, and 2 2-bedrooms. Next slide, please. This is the roof plan, which I talked to you about. Again, those very small modulated terraces with their submerged hatch access to minimize any rooftop visibility. Next slide, please. These are sections just to show how the height reduced to 3 stories comports. In the upper side, you'll see the building that is ZoomX, which we're very much consistent with. And then you'll see the looking from the side of the site into the section of the building. Next slide, please. A view from the back. This is the parking, which is accessed off that very small driveway, and the opposite side looking into the section, just so you see the scale of that height. Next slide, please. So the zoning, again, I mentioned we're in a 3F 2000, that is existing uses and the building itself that is there is non-conforming. The relief that we're requiring is fairly minimum. Again, we're under the allowable height, which is 35 feet, 3 stories. We're just a little bit over the FAR at 1.91. And also need relief for the open space, which is a dramatic improvement to the existing conditions. And we're able to get fairly close with that by the private terraces, but also giving back to the complete streets and the active sidewalks and the like. Next slide. That's it. Thank you. I'm sorry. Yep. Conditional use. We also need relief for the multifamily residential. Again, I told you this is a 3F 2000, not a condition that exists on the site. Prominent corner appropriate for the MFR, delivering affordability. We're also in a groundwater overlay. And so the huge benefit that is happening here, as I showed you, site is almost entirely impervious, which means that water doesn't go through, it runs off it. And in addition to the high heat island impact, we will be greatly improving that with a groundwater circulation system, a recharge system, pervious surfaces, a green roof, as well as, again, improved sidewalks and 5 robust street trees. I think I hit on the other relief that is necessary, which also includes the parking. We have 7 parking spaces. We only have 14 units. We're 700 feet from the T, but we're also programming it to promote usage of the T. Also work with our tenants for walkability and for T usage for employees and customers, and to provide what we're excited to be an EV vehicle for vehicle share exclusive to the residents of the building itself, in addition to or as part of the 7 on-street parking spaces. That's my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, I'll start with the first question. I think you may have answered this, but just to be sure, I'm not sure if this person says, not sure if this has been discussed. Sorry, my questions are going off here. Not sure if this has been discussed in the past, but are there any plans to make the ground floor soundproof? One of the biggest issues with the current setup is the excessive noise, especially at night. I can't imagine anyone wanting to live above a CrossFit studio that's active at night.
Yeah, so thanks for the question, Andrew. Right now, you're looking at a garage that has 2 bays and a bunch of, huge curb cut openings around the site in that single nondescript building. We're building a brand new mixed use building. And so in order to accommodate the fitness use, which is also a local operator, huge part of your community, to bring him back into a state-of-the-art facility that includes soundproofing. Essentially what we'll be doing is building a building within the building. So way to think about this. All the windows will be closed. The HVAC system will be provided. Right now, you don't have that. And we very much understand, appreciate, and recognize, that there would be impacts on noise that were associated to the older condition. Javi is a great operator, and we're excited to provide a state-of-the-art space for him with sound mitigation measures, all internal to the building, and to comply. We will be complying with the City of Boston's noise ordinance. Thank you.
Okay, the next question is in regards to your design on the Zoomix side of the building. I asked for a little bit more detail as to what the person was asking for. States, it looks like they have designed a freestanding wall on that side with an alley behind it. Can you explain?
So the alley is Zoomix's alley. Then we have the, our wall, and we're actually set back from the property line. Bill, you want to take that?
Sure, thanks, Joe. Yeah. Well, the wall that's shown there is actually, it's a screen wall on the property line that would help to screen us off visually a little bit from Zoomix. Otherwise, the building is pulled back 5 feet away from the property line. And then the building we construct there would be brick, and that's the residential entrance end of the building.
I apologize. Is that wall on the property line that you showed
It's on the
there?
property, it's on our property, yes.
Okay.
It's on the property line.
5 feet back from the property line, right?
No, that wall is up along the property line, would be a screen wall, because Zoomix has a parking, their
Oh,
parking
Okay.
spaces right there next to it, and that would screen us off from their parking.
Okay, and part of that person's question also was, do the roof decks all connect to each other, and is there access to the edge of the roof?
No, the roof decks will be separate. They're separately accessed from the units below from each individual unit, and they're pulled back away from the edge of the building, more towards the center of the building. You wouldn't see them from the street.
Okay, and these units are still all slated as rental, correct?
No, we're proposing condos. We were at rentals at the 30 units. That was one of the things we heard. Assuming that the market gets better, but Richard thinks that it would be a nice homeownership program.
Yes, and I apologize. I was just informed that I forgot to announce the abutters for this evening, who are supposed to go first. So that is my fault. I apologize. Let me pull that back up. The abutters this evening are Caitlin Monahan, Michael Etzel, Letty Dinoco, Jessica Core, John McLaren, Thomas Allen, Javi Carballo, and Jack Sloyan. I apologize greatly. I completely forgot about that. Those people are allowed to speak out loud and ask questions since they registered 24 hours in advance and have been verified as abutters. So if any of those people would like to speak out loud, please raise your hand and let me know, and I will yield to you. Anybody? Javi, go ahead.
Hello, good evening. So, pardon my sleepy face, but it's been a great, entertaining meeting. A lot of really good information, and I just want to take a minute or so and show my support on the project. I had many interactions with Richard over the last 10 years that we occupy 1 Everett Street, and he's been more than fair to me as a business owner and also as a person. So we would love to go back, and I think to get support from a developer, right, in East Boston, when you've been in business for long time, and also feel that support that that your business is not, and all your efforts are not just going to go down the drain because someone that has honestly more money than me decides to build a business without giving a chance to a local business. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay, and I'm just going to interrupt just briefly in case I didn't see another hand, but I'm going to interrupt briefly because it sort of goes along with what Javi was just talking about. The question from this resident: many developers promise, that's more of a statement / question. Many developers promise specific tenants for their commercial space here, CrossFit, but generally this does not actually happen. It seems disingenuous to state who the tenant will be as part of your presentation unless you have a current signed agreement with the tenant. Do you have a lease already signed with CrossFit?
Excuse me, Richard Garaffo. Javi and I go back 10 years as not only co-workers on his facility, but also as friends. His handshake is good enough for me, and I think Javi will make an excellent contribution to the area. His facility is highly regarded, and I support his efforts in every way. So I do not have a signed document that he's coming back to us, but we're designing the space around him, so I do hope he does.
The other thing, thank you, Richard. The other thing I'll say too is we have a zoning case, and I know I talked about the use for the MFR, but because we are building it new, we'll need relief for the fitness center as well. So you have to, again, we're in a residential zone, we're removing what's there now. And so we were cited, and we have to, name what the space is. You've seen the plans. So obviously the zoning doesn't say fitness use for hobby, but it's not as if you can come in and change it to something else, right? And so the other thing I would say is, I appreciate the question, but Richard is also someone who's been in this neighborhood for a long time. This is what I do. It doesn't help anyone to make representations that they can't live up with. I can't speak to other developers, but we have a tremendous amount of respect for this neighborhood.
Okay, and then the next comment / question is actually from one of the abutters, just stating that the project looks great, definite upgrade from the building there now, especially with the trees. It looks awesome. And I didn't see any other hands up. I'll give just another shout out to those people. And again, my apologies. And then I know we have one final question. Go ahead, Margaret.
Yes, this is for the developers. Normally we ask that they include information about their next steps in the presentation, and I didn't see it in there. I know that you are scheduled before the ZBA tomorrow, but our vote will not be completed until Friday night in the evening and then posted over the weekend. So what are your planned next steps?
Yeah, I mean, we've worked very hard, I think, to earn, I would hope to earn your support, but certainly to appreciate the guidance over the last 2 years. So we'll be asking for a deferral tomorrow so that we can receive your vote. And again, we greatly appreciate everyone's time. And I know this is a volunteer organization. And so we'll look forward to receiving the results, and we'll be asking for a quick deferral tomorrow, so that we can return with your vote at that time.
Okay. And just a reminder to everyone that and actually, while we're giving an opportunity for anybody to submit any last questions, I'll just quickly review a reminder that our timeline for voting is that after the close of this meeting tonight, we will look through who is eligible to vote, who has attended this meeting and has either attended in the past 3 months or is an abutter to the project. Emails will be sent out this Wednesday, March 15th. And voting will close on Friday, March 17th at 7 p.m. Late votes are not counted. 2 quick things. If you do not receive an email, the first thing we suggest you do is check your spam. 90% of times when people contact us and say, hey, I thought I should have gotten a ballot, and they don't, it's because it's in their spam. And the other thing is that if you attended one meeting and logged in with one email address and attended another meeting and logged in with a different email address, that may cause an issue. For instance, once I logged in using my work email by accident, because we track the attendance through the email address and then we send the ballot to the email address that was used. So if for some reason you don't get a ballot and you think that may be the issue, please do let us know. As Joe very nicely pointed out, the vote will be posted over the weekend, usually by Sunday. Sometimes it takes us an extra day or 2. And after that vote is completed, the JPNA will issue a letter which we will share with both the developer, the owner, Nathalia, and all of our elected officials, the entire team of elected officials, which will provide both the final vote count and also a little bit of feedback about why the vote may have gone in the direction it did. Andrew, I just want to check, do we have any other questions in the chat? It is 8:30 and we do try to end on time.
No, ma'am.
Okay, so just a reminder that if you would like to watch this video again, or if you would like to find out about future meetings, or if you would like to sign up to receive 2 emails a month from the Jeffreys Point Neighborhood Association, which includes the agenda for this meeting and the agenda for the planning and zoning meeting, you would do all of that at our website, which is www.jeffreyspoint.org. As always, we are here to assist you, and you can reach any board member at board@jeffreyspoint.org. We will be here for just a few minutes. So if there's something you wish to copy out of the chat, we encourage you to do that while everyone is logging out. Thank you for joining us this evening. This is the end of the Jeffreys Point Neighborhood Association monthly meeting for March 2023. Have a great night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.